So is there anything in your life right now that you're unhappy with or dissatisfied about? The truth is, we are where we're at in our life because of the choices that we make. So today we're going to talk about how to make healthy or self-interest choices. So today we're going to talk about how to make healthy choices or how to make self-interest choices. So oftentimes in our school, we teach that the difference between making selfish choices and making self-interest choices. So I want to take a minute and just explain the difference between the two. So a selfish choice is something that does not benefit me or anyone else. Sometimes though we get confused with selfish choices because in the short term, it seems like that choice is benefiting me. It seems to give me what I want. Now, again, remember that everything we do for a reason, or we wouldn't do it. And again, beliefs drive our behavior. So if I'm making a selfish choice, it's because I believe that that choice is going to give me something that I want. And the ultimate goal behind all of our behavior is happiness. So we want to feel better. So if I'm making a choice, I'm doing it because I believe that it's going to make my life better than it is. So I'm in an uncomfortable or painful situation and I want to get out of that. So I'm making a choice to change that state. Or I'm in an okay place, but there's something that I want more. And so I believe that doing this will give me that. And by having whatever that more is, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to be happier. That's the reason for all of our behavior. We want to be happier. So why would I make a decision or a choice that ultimately does not give me what I want, that ultimately does not make me happy? Well, it's because we're deceived. Again, we go through life the majority of time living on autopilot, which means it's the subconscious part of our brain. So we're not really paying attention. Things just happen. We get the outcomes or the results. We don't really think it through, but it seems like what we're doing is either working or non-working. And if it seems like it's working, then we do it again. And if it works again, we do it again. And then after a while, we don't even think about it. It's just part of our subconscious. An example of that would be, drugs. So why do people use drugs? Sometimes it's out of curiosity, but you can drill down a little bit below curiosity. And why would I be curious about taking some substance outside of myself to change my state of being? Well, it must be because I believe that maybe by trying this substance, it's going to give me an experience that is better than what I'm currently experiencing, or it will change my state of being to make it better. So even if it's curiosity, there's still a belief that it's going to give me something that I don't have. Sometimes people will try illegal drugs because they're unhappy, and they've been told and they think that by taking this, it will make them feel better. And so they take the substance, and oftentimes it seems to work. So when I take that, I no longer worry about my problems. Everything seems better. So the solution to my unhappiness is to take this substance. It seems to work. But what happens when the substance wears off? Now I go back to the state that I was at before because nothing else has changed. The thoughts and the beliefs about my circumstances are still the same, other than now I have created a belief that the solution to this unhappiness is to take this drug. So I take it again, and it seems to work for me again. The problem with that is the drug is not the solution to my unhappiness. It's a temporary fix or cover-up for that. So this is just one situation, but we do it in many circumstances in our life where we believe that by doing something or behaving in a certain way, it gives us the happiness that we want. And it may seem to do so in the short term, but it doesn't really change or fix the cause or the root of that problem. And so we'll continue in that pattern until it catches up with us and we experience the consequence of that choice. So we have problems with, if we're using drugs, with the legal system, or problems in our relationships, or problems, in our employment. And we begin to see how this behavior may be giving me a temporary fix here, but it's creating other problems in my life that are actually perpetuating or expanding the problem that existed in the beginning. And so I haven't taken care of that. I've just made it worse. We want to look, so that's an example of a selfish choice. The other type of choices is self-interest. And the way that we describe a self-interest choice is it's something that benefits me and benefits others in the long term. So there are times that we may make a self-interest choice that there's an immediate, what would appear to be a negative consequence, but there's a long-term benefit. So an example would be that, in a relationship, maybe I did something that affected the trust or the respect in that relationship. And it would be easy to lie about what I did so that I don't have to take accountability and to just move forward. And that would be a selfish choice. So in the moment, I would be avoiding the discomfort or the embarrassment of being honest. But long term, I know that I'm dishonest. And oftentimes the truth comes out. And so then I have to face it. But now I've got all of the harm done from presenting myself as being somebody that I'm not. So the self-interest choice would be, I be honest in the moment. I deal with the consequence of my behavior, but I trust that by following the principle of honesty and making a self-interest choice, that will actually create more of what I want in the relationship. By being honest, I create more trust. I show that I'm not perfect, that I do make mistakes, but you know what? I'm doing my best, and I'm being honest, and I'm willing to admit when I make mistakes, and then to stand up and do all I can to correct it and to move forward and make better choices. So we call that making selfish choices, call that doing the easy hard. So we make a decision in the moment that's easier, but then it makes our life harder down the road. A self-interest choice is the hard easy. So we make the decision now, and it may be more difficult to make that decision, but it makes my life easier as I go along. We want to make self-interest choices, and in order to make a self-interest choice, first we have to get off of autopilot. We need to look at the circumstance and the situation, be aware of what are the beliefs that we have about this, and then look at what our options are. So in this situation, I have the option to do this, or I have the option to do that. What is my goal? What is my intent? Well, I think that by doing this, it's going to give me something that ultimately is going to result in me being happier. Well, if I know that I have a false belief with that, so let's say that I'm going to do something because it will bring me more money, and I think that by having more money, then I'm going to be happier in my life. Well, if I explore that and really look at that, I can realize that money does not make me happy. So that's a false belief. So I have to look at it and say, what's the other reason that I would want to do this behavior? If it's just about having more money, because having more money is going to make me happy, that's a selfish choice. It ultimately will not bring me what it is that I'm striving to achieve. So I need to understand principles, and in order for a choice to be in my self-interest, it has to be in alignment with principle or with truth. So I'm going to look at those things. First of all, is this in my self-interest? Does it benefit me? Does it benefit others? Or is it selfish? What's the long-term consequence? Does it benefit me? Does it benefit others? Or does it hurt me? Does it hurt others? I'm also going to look at, well, what's the principle involved in this? Can I identify what the principle or the truth is? And is my decision in alignment with that principle? If not, then it's not a self-interest choice. It's not a healthy choice. So a healthy choice involves these things: understanding what the principle is, making sure that my choice is in alignment with principle. Some of those principles are control. So am I trying to control something that I have no control over? If so, that's not a healthy choice. Am I taking accountability for myself, or am I blaming somebody else? If I'm blaming and putting the responsibility on someone else, that's not a healthy choice. It will not give me the outcome that I'm striving for. So understanding the principles and then looking at what's my intent behind it and what's the long-term outcome that I'm after. If I can look at all of those three things and then make a choice that fits with principle, that is in my self-interest, that will ultimately give me more happiness in my life, then you can know that's a healthy choice. Hope you've enjoyed this video and that it's helped you in making decisions in your life. If you have enjoyed it, like this video and come back again tomorrow.